welcome the Lynn University Fighting Knights. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we ask you to rise as we honor America with the playing of our national anthem. Here are today's starters, beginning with the Fighting Knights of Lynn University. A midfielder from Owens, Maryland, number 1, Aaron Bodmer. A defender out of O'Fallon, Missouri, number 3, Mackenzie Hammer. An attacker out of Laurel. Lauren Mcneil. A midfielder out of Waxhaw, North Carolina, number 6, CC Colombo. An attackman out of Dellsville, Maryland, number 7, Hannah Bush. A midfielder out of Morristown, New Jersey, number 9, Jeannie Santarpio. A goalkeeper out of Evergreen, Colorado, number 10, Bridget Sutter. A midfielder out of Centennial, Colorado, number 16, Lizzie Pierpont. A defender out of Millstone, New Jersey, number 21, Alexa Scadillo. The scorings are led by head coach Kelly Gallagher, assisted by Kelly Gilday and Hillary Ham.
Wait, Saki, you don't want me to play music when the other team scores, right?
Right.
I was wondering.
Spartans playing host to the Lynn Fighting Knights. I'm Bruce Wozniak here to call the action for you on a beautiful Saturday afternoon, a game time temperature of 85 degrees as UT puts their 4-1 record on the line against Lynn, who comes in with a 1-2 one-loss record. The Spartans have been idle since a victory 1 week ago today over on the other coast in Melbourne, a 10-5 win at Florida Tech. And meanwhile, for the Fighting Knights, they are trying to snap a 2-game losing streak. They have been off even longer. A week ago Wednesday, so March 31st, was their last action, a home game that they fell 17-14 at the hands of Palm Beach Atlantic. Looking at the two teams scoring-wise, so far this season, the Spartans are averaging winning by 12 to just over 9.5. Spartans are averaging scoring exactly 12 goals a game, and as I said, giving up just over 9.5 goals a game. And for Lynn, through, granted, only 3 games this season, but they are averaging losing almost 16-12. Last year they were 4-3. The Spartans were 6-1. Of course, the season cut short due to the pandemic when all games in all sports were halted. And this season, the pandemic impacting the schedule by way of the teams playing against conference opponents only. So familiar Sunshine State Conference foes up and down the schedule for not only these two teams, but everyone else that they're facing here in 2021 as we get set for the opening draw. And for the Spartans in goal, it's Bridget Sutter. And for Lynn, as you see, the game beginning now. For Lynn, the starting goaltender this afternoon is Anastasia Iliff. And UT with the game's opening possession. As in they come, in behind the Fighting Knights net. And now up top with it, a pass sent over for Gia Colombo, and she pushes it down into the corner. Now in behind the Fighting Knights net, they try out the other side. And looking for something there was Santarpio, has to send it back behind the net. And now that's Cece Colombo. Gives it back to her sister Gia. And 2 defenders there for the Fighting Knights on her. Now a pass in behind the Fighting Knights net. And a cutter, they find her, shot, scores! That's Lizzie Pierpont with the goal as the Spartans get started early and jump out to a 1-0 lead. As you see the replay there, and for Lizzie Pierpont, who we're used to seeing taking the lion's share of the draws for the Spartans, that is her 6th goal of the season. And in fact, that'll be Lizzie Pierpont out there for this draw. Comes in the game's first minute. And the Spartans players on the far sideline cheering for their teammates as that one's controlled by Jeannie Santarpio. And UT in possession here following the game's opening goal as Lauren Mcneil sends it down to Hannah Bush. Now Bush takes it in behind the Fighting Knights net, sends it over to Pierpont. And an outlet pass up top for Cece Colombo. And she runs that one down just in time. There's a pass over to Santarpio. in behind the Fighting Knights net. And that's Cece Colombo with a long pass up top for Pierpont, quickly over to Santarpio. And in comes Santarpio and scores! Jeannie Santarpio, the team's leading goal scorer, adds to her Aaron Bodmer for Lynn on this draw. As the ball is out, that was Pierpont again for the Spartans, and possession to the home team. You see UT all in white with red numerals going from left to right here in this first half. Lynn with blue on top and gray on the bottom, and they are going right to left here in this first half of play. And the Spartans already out to a 2-0 lead, as that's Jeannie Santarpio, and now Pierpont over for Gia Colombo on the run. Colombo finds a little bit of room, gets in front, and a save made there. The rebound chased down by one player from each team. It's still not controlled, and it looks like they'll call a push there against the Fighting Knights. And put in now as Gia Colombo gives it to Cece Colombo, and up top to Pierpont, over to the other side to Santarpio, who has just scored. The Spartans looking for another as they work it around the Fighting Knights net. Now it's sent back up the other side to Santarpio down low. They push it in behind the net. Pass for Gia Colombo, turns the corner and can't get a shot away as she ran out of a shooting lane. And Santarpio has that one. Hold on, a whistle's going to stop play. The Fighting Knights, I want to say that might have been Lauren Dickinson who tried to take that one away and head back towards the UT end of the field. Unsuccessful. A free position attempt here, and shot taken, scores! Jeannie Santarpio with her second goal of the game, and UT out to a and simply getting instructions from her coach, and now takes her position as we await this draw. Following the third Spartans goal of the game, and it's going to be Lizzie Pierpont going against Delaney Popola. The Lynn Fighting Knights from down in Boca Raton. And playing here in Tampa this afternoon, as they are starting a 2-game road trip that will see them in Lakeland on Wednesday, taking on Florida Southern. And finally, the Fighting Knights with an offensive possession here, going against Bridget Sutter, the starting goaltender this afternoon for UT. And looking for a shot there was Kaylin Doyle as they work it to the near side. That's Isabella Clark. And being watched closely, no opportunity for her to shoot, thanks to some shutdown defense being played by Aaron Sistek. Now the Fighting Knights try the lane, nothing there. Falling down and getting back up was Doyle. And a pass over onto the other side. Pass down low and unable to get the shot away. There's a whistle, and a call against the Spartans. As some folks still coming into the stadium here in the early going of this game, as they have opened things up to a 25% capacity. And first home game of the season for these Spartans. And they score. The Fighting Knights get that one to trickle past Sutter. And so the UT run of 3 goals in a row is halted for the time being as the Fighting Knights get on the scoreboard. So as I was saying, this Spartans team seeing spectators in the stands for the first time in 2021 and giving them something to cheer about early on with the game's first 3 goals. Although, as I said, Lynn, as you just saw, has responded with their first tally of the game. And we'll now see Sarah Hinkle for UT to oppose Delaney Popala on this draw. And you see the precautions being taken as those 2 young ladies, Hinkle and Popala, both wearing face masks. Being sensitive to the coronavirus. And the draw is controlled by Hinkle. And she gets it up ahead. That's Emma McLaughlin on the run. McLaughlin with some room sends a quick pass. And down in behind the net go the Spartans. As here's a pass on the near side for Cece Colombo. Fires a pass to Hannah Bush. And now it's sent on the other side of the field to Kayla Brennan. Cece Colombo on the back line. Up top again to Bush. Hannah Bush surveys the zone. Backs up. And a pass over again for Brennan. And now Cece Colombo will try from the near corner. Up top, Bush, still nothing there. Plenty of time on the shot clock. And Kayla Brennan starts her move and then dishes a pass down low. Sent back over for Cece Colombo. And here's Emma McLaughlin, who had started this attack into the Lynn Fighting Knights end of the field. And that's going to be chased down and picked up by Brennan. And she'll send it back down low once again. Here's Cece Colombo one more time from the corner to McLaughlin. And looked like she wanted to start her move towards the net. Opted to pass to Hannah Bush instead. And here comes Kayla Brennan with a spin move. And wow, 3 defenders on her. And the Spartans carry on with another pass to Cece Colombo. Pass now. Brennan cuts through. And that one may have been deflected as it goes out of play. And the official signaling there for a reset of the shot clock. And now a pass quickly in front. Shot. Oh! And it looked like just at the last minute, as though the goaltender, Ilif, may have gotten a piece of that one. And so UT still in possession here. And that's McLaughlin for Hannah Bush. Over for Kayla Brennan again. Back up to Hannah Bush, and she sends a long pass down into the corner, and here's Cece Colombo from the other side. And the Fighting Knights making UT work for this one, and McLaughlin ducks under a check. And now some contact, and it's actually going to be called against Olivia Mott. And so the Spartans turn it over after a sustained possession. And so Lynn comes back the other way, or at least starts out of their own zone with that in mind. And a pass over now for Gould. Delaney Gould being marked there by Colombo. And it's brought up by Mackenzie Hamer. Over on the far side now, Stein. And look out, ducking under a check was Farinas for the Fighting Knights as play is halted. And we may have our first call of the game as it looks like the Spartans are going to go down one player that appears to be paid short over on the far side of the field going into the penalty area. And meanwhile, a free position attempt coming up for Danielle Farinas, it looks like. And two of the officials discussing things on the far side of the field. And now Farinas is set in place by the officials, and the players waiting for the official's whistle for the restart. And in she comes, and is slowed down defensively by Alexis Scadillo. Here's an opportunity in front. Is put on the ground, and going to the ground as well was not only the ball, but Carly Mcneil for Lynn, and so another call against the Spartans. And so Mcneil, a freshman from Blue Point, New York, with a free position attempt here against Bridget Sutter, and takes the shot. Sutter saw that one all the way and made the save, and she outlets it now on the near side to Sistek. Pass up ahead that does connect there with Kayla Brennan, and Brennan a little trouble crossing midfield, and the official says no, possession stays with UT. And so the Spartans quickly on the restart, and taking it into the Fighting Knights end of the field. That's Hannah Bush down in the far corner, breaking behind the Lynn net. Over for Cece Colombo. Colombo to McLaughlin. And Lynn doing a good job of telling the Spartans, we'll give you anything you want from way outside, but you're just not going to get into these prime scoring areas, at least not without an awful lot of work. And so the Spartans having to work the perimeter. As you see there, that's Emma McLaughlin. McLaughlin looks down to the corner and picked up there by Mott. Keep in mind that the Spartans are short a player due to that penalty call against Paige Short, and results in the fourth Spartan goal of the game, so backfires on the Fighting Knights. So if you're Spartans head coach Kelly Gallagher, you don't like seeing Paige Short going to the penalty area, but it's a little bit easier to swallow when the team responds by scoring a goal despite being a player down. UT goes into a 4-1 lead, and we're going to see Sarah Hinkle again here on this draw for UT. And that was Cece Colombo getting the goal for the Spartans. And she did come into the game as the team's leading point getter. She came into today with 19 points on 8 goals and 11 assists. So 9th goal of the season for her. As UT looking to finish up killing this penalty against Paige Short. And the ball's on the ground. As you hear the whistle, Kaylin Doyle puts it back in for Lynn. Now Mcneil, 2 defenders collapse on her. And speaking of collapsing, another Fighting Knights player taken down to the field. That was Danielle Farinas. And so a call against the Spartans, as we'll see a free position attempt here by Farinas. And takes the shot, and Sutter handles that one. And watch out, has a defender right in her face. And outlets it here to the near side. And quickly across midfield, there's Emma McLaughlin with a good burst of speed. McLaughlin trying to get the Fighting Knights defenders before they have an opportunity to turn around. And up top now is Kayla Brennan. Sends it over for Lauren Mcneil. And now in the corner, that's Mott. And over here to Thompson. Cece Colombo had a little jump in her step. And the ball is loose. And able to dig it out are the Fighting Knights. And the goaltender, Ilif, starts it up as the ball is loose at midfield, and it was initially controlled by the Fighting Knights, but Mott there to pick it up for UT. This is Cece Colombo now. Colombo, with an opponent chasing her down, carries on into the Fighting Knights' end, and that's McLaughlin. Emma McLaughlin surveying her options, takes it down to the end line and sends it over for Olivia Mott. And now Brennan quickly up top to Hannah Bush and over to McLaughlin again. McLaughlin ducks under a check, carries on, and a pass to Brennan. Now here's Mott. Sees nothing but blue and has to send it over to Cece Colombo. A swarm of blue shirts for the Lynn Fighting Knights as the Spartans try to get inside, and more passing as it's Colombo in the corner again. 35 on the shot clock. And here's Emma McLaughlin on the run, and they shut her down. Now she tries again, ducks underneath, scores! What a great play by Emma McLaughlin. And so the Spartans have opened up a 4-goal lead here. And on the ensuing draw, down went Aaron Bodmer for the Fighting Knights, and now 2 more players hit the field. And possession to UT once again. And Jeannie Santarpio ducks from a stick that was about to come down on her as the Spartans move it around the Fighting Knights end of the field. Up top with it here is Gia Colombo. On the move, puts her shoulder down, can't get inside. Passes to her sister. And now it's quickly over to Santarpio on the far side. Up top with Gia Colombo again. Gia starts her move, and 2 defenders shut her down. Cece Colombo from the near corner. A pass over, and Olivia Mott trying to back her way in. She goes down, and the official there to call it against her. And so the Fighting Knights will try to start out of their own end. As here's a pass for Delaney Gould. Gould crosses midfield. A pass there intended for Isabella Clark that missed. And it's turned over. And now on the restart, that's Erin Sistek. Plays it back to her goalie, and Bridget Sutter looks the other way. And a long pass that connects with Scadillo. Quickly up across midfield now. Here's Cece Colombo across the Fighting Knights line. That one intended for Santarpio, missed. Pierpont able to get it, comes inside, scores! Lizzie Pierpont with a tremendous effort as the Spartans, you see the replay there on Pierpont's second goal of the game. And UT finding their groove here offensively this afternoon, leading by a score of 6-1, and it looks like we may have a timeout down on the field, so we will step away as well. You're watching Spartans Lacrosse on TampaSpartans.tv.
Just another ordinary day at UT.
Baseball for me just kind of was the glue that kept my family together. I feel like I was able to come here and get my triple major, as well as play a super high level of baseball against some of the best players in the country. There's a lot of options here in Division II with a lot of great ball players and a lot of great people, and they make sure that they give you every opportunity to succeed on and off the field.
.35 left here in the first half, and the Tampa Spartans in a 6-1 lead against the Lynn Fighting Knights. And we're waiting for the draw now at midfield following the timeout. It's going to be Aaron Bodmer for the visitors, and it looks like Sarah Hinkle once again for UT, as the Fighting Knights have their work cut out for them here to try to start fighting their way back into this game. And it starts with something like draw controls, and there you go, as Bodmer successful in controlling it herself, as this is Isabella Clark playing it back for Mackenzie Hamer. And Mackenzie Hamer with a nice move and runs it up the field, gets past another Spartan, and Hamer takes it all the way down into the Spartans' end of the field. And Farinas, whistle there, called against the Spartans. And so possession stays with Lynn. And Danielle Farinas, unofficially, I'm going to say this is her third free position attempt of the game, and doesn't shoot, although a pass right in front, they score! A nice pass over to Diane Doler, and she puts it in behind Bridget Sutter, and the Fighting Knights get back on the scoreboard. It's now 6-2. And that's the way you're going to do it, as I said, is to control these draws and then make the most of each possession. And every goal only counts as one, so you can't tie it up all at once. And Lynn's going to try to chip away at this deficit, as we'll get a draw coming up here. Bodmer once again. And for Doler, that is her 9th goal of the season. As you see the Spartans in possession here. And it's on the far side of the field, now sent down in behind the Fighting Knights net. Here's Gia Colombo over for Pierpont, and now Santarpio as they move it around quickly. And a whistle stops play And let's see who this is against. And the official giving an explanation, and the call clearly against the Fighting Knights. And it's going to be Olivia Mott. And just like that on the restart, they blow it dead, and Olivia Mott will do this all over again. And Mott one-on-one against the goaltender, Ilif. Breaks in, shoots, and high over top of the net. Goes out of play. And so Lauren Mcneil goes back there to put it in for a UT. And now a whistle as the official on the far side of the field initially looked like she was talking to the scorer's table, and now a quick explanation to the Fighting Knights sideline. And play resumes. This is Gia Colombo. Colombo puts her shoulder down, and a call there against the Fighting Knights. It looks like that's against Mackenzie Hamer. And so now Gia Colombo staring down Ilif. And let's see if she goes in for the shot. And a pass instead for Pierpont. Now Santarpio breaks in, shoots, scores! The third goal of the game for Jeannie Santarpio. And UT with a 7-2 lead now. And you could really say it started with the initial pass from Gia Colombo to Lizzie Pierpont, and then Pierpont sends up Santarpio. So Santarpio with 3 goals, and Pierpont now with 3 points off of 2 goals and 1 assist. And the Spartans really making their shots count this afternoon. They've scored 7 goals on 8 shots. And the official on the far side of the field, very busy, very active in this game so far this afternoon. And she's ready, as are the 2 participants in this draw. And the official there steps away, and out comes the ball, and initially it looked like it was going to be picked up by the Fighting Knights, but Diane Doler wasn't able to find the handle, and so UT takes it down into the Lynn end of the field once again. Here's Gia Colombo. Colombo try to move, the defender doesn't go for it, so it's Pierpont up top. Santarpio pushes it into the corner. Cece Colombo bounces out front, scores! Cece Colombo with her 2nd goal of the game. And she's now in double digits on the season, as that's her 10th here in 2021. And for the Spartans, it's an 8-2 lead. And UT, I mentioned at the beginning of the broadcast, came into this game this afternoon with an average of 12 goals per game, and they already have 8 just over halfway into the first half. And here's Bodmer once again for the Fighting Knights. And for UT, that was Sarah Hinkle, as the Fighting Knights have possession, and good speed shown there by Kaylin Doyle. And the official says, hold on, I blew the whistle. And now they have it in the corner, in behind the Spartans' net. And this is Isabella Clark. Relays it up to Doyle. And looking for an open teammate there, Carolyn Stein sends it up top. And a spin move by Mcneil breaks in. Mcneil, and that one goes wide as the Fighting Knights still in possession here. Carolyn Stein for Isabella Clark, who pops out in front. No opportunity to shoot and gives it instead to Farinas. And back to Clark again. Up top now with it is Doyle. Doyle tries a little move and not falling for it, Danny Waters. As a pass there is dropped and picked back up by Carly Mcneil. Her pass now for Clark. Clark, nice pass inside, and a shot taken, and a somersault. Carly Mcneil, the acrobatics don't pay off as the shot went wide, and now play is halted as the official there with a call looks like possibly against Cece Colombo. And so we're going to have a free position attempt here for Sydney Hill. Hill breaks in, shoots, and hits the goalpost. And turned over as the Spartans will start out of their own end with what looks like Emma McLaughlin on the far side. And runs past two Fighting Knights defenders and now gives up a pass that connects with Danny Waters. Waters across the Lynn line. Over for Hannah Bush, who takes it down into the corner, and now Bush will go in behind the Fighting Knights net. Bush shakes off a check. Sends it over as Brennan sends it quickly to McLaughlin. And now Mott pushes it in behind the Fighting Knights net. Back there is Cece Colombo. The pass is dropped. And Mott able to regain control. And Colombo sends it over. Here's breaking in, an opportunity, and a shot taken by Brennan. And coming out of the pack with it was Hinkle. And here's McLaughlin now. McLaughlin fakes the pass, cuts inside, and unable to get a shot away. And there's a pass right in the middle, and Lauren Mcneil swarmed by the Fighting Knights defense. And the whistle against the visitors. So an opportunity now for Lauren Mcneil. One-on-one against Iliff. And opts to back out instead. 15 on the shot clock. Spartans need to get something moving here. As Brennan tries to break in, sends a high pass. Colombo able to pull that one down. And intended for Lauren Mcneil, doesn't connect McLaughlin with it. The shot clock is going to run out. And it does. And so the Spartans unable to get a shot away there. Against Anastasia Iliff. They have themselves an 8-2 lead here in the first half. And the Fighting Knights trying to gain the Tampa end of the field. As Delaney Gould brings it up, loses it, and the official there on the spot with a call against the Spartans. And Gould puts it back into play. Gould, her pass over for Mcneil. Mcneil being watched over there by Natalie Spanik. And going down to the field as the whistle goes, that was Sarah Schaefer, a junior from up in Seneca Falls, New York. Attending college down in South Florida, Boca Raton, where Lynn University is located. And an opportunity here for her against Bridget Sutter. Bounces, it scores! So Sarah Schaefer puts another one on the board for the Fighting Knights. And our score now 8-3. And for Sarah Schaefer, her second goal of the season. She had previously attended Monroe Community College. And here she is for the Fighting Knights, putting up their third goal of the afternoon. And it comes with just a little less than 10 minutes remaining here in this first half. Hinkle out there for UT on this draw, and opposed by the goal scorer Schaefer. And the Fighting Knights in possession here again. Some shadows sweeping over the field now. There's a lot of rain coming in later tonight, and good scheduling, Mother Nature cooperating and letting this game get in this afternoon. Our temperature has actually dropped 2 degrees since the start of the game approximately 45 minutes ago, when it was 85 degrees. And in the meantime, play continuing with the Fighting Knights looking for more. That's Isabella Clark. Pass that connects, and here's a shot coming. Scores! Sydney Hill beating Bridget Sutter. And the Fighting Knights trying to scratch and claw their way back into this game and cutting it to 8-4. As Lauren Mcneil goes off on the far side of the field, and out comes Sarah Hinkle for this draw. And I've called her name several times. Let's give her a little love. Sarah Hinkle, a freshman from Hudson, Ohio, and attended Hudson High School. And the draw controls favoring Sarah Hinkle and the Spartans, 8-4 thus far in the game. And that one looked like it was going to be controlled by the Fighting Knights, but it's raked and sent back the other way. And Emma McLaughlin does her best impersonation of the Tampa Bay Lightning's Pat Maroon and sends the opponent flying down to the field. And she's going to get called for that as Emma McLaughlin goes off for what looks like it's going to be the second penalty called against the Spartans, as she really laid out a check there in the open field. And so here come the Fighting Knights, although keep in mind the last time that UT was down a player, they scored. As now Lauren Mcneil coming back out onto the field for the Spartans, with Hinkle going off. Sarah Schaefer has one of the Fighting Knights goals. You saw her with the pass there, and looking for an open teammate. Doyle sends it down for Clark, and an unfortunate turnover there for the Fighting Knights, especially given that the Spartans are currently trying to kill this penalty. And it's turned over on the far side of the field. And back the other way come the Fighting Knights. Hold on, we might have another turnover, and we do. It's Kayla Brennan off to the races for UT. Brennan crosses the Lynn line. Brennan being chased there by Carly Mcneil. And Kayla Brennan content in holding on to it, and now gives it to Cece Colombo. as Emma McLaughlin continues to sit over in the penalty area on the far side of the field. And the corner now, Mott pushes it behind the net to Lauren Mcneil, and out to Kayla Brendan on the other side. Up top now, this is Hannah Bush. Bush looking for some room to work, nothing there. We'll send it back into the corner to Mott. And Cece Colombo starts out a pass in front, and McNeil's shot may have been deflected as it went high and out of play. And the Spartans quickly put it back in. Here's Cece Colombo, a quick pass for Lauren McNeil, and has to duck under the stick of Sarah Schaefer. And now they have successfully killed off the penalty as Emma McLaughlin returns to the field. There's a pass in front. Lauren McNeil scores! Lauren McNeil on a nice pass from Cece Colombo. And the Spartans with a 9-4 lead now. And for Lauren McNeil, that is goal number 7 on the season. Lauren McNeil in her latest scoring play has tied Olivia Mott for 3rd in goals on the team. As we'll get the draw coming up here at midfield. And that was Hinkle and Diane Doler, as you see, possession to the Spartans. And here's Erin Sistek pushing it up ahead to McLaughlin. Olivia Mott takes it down into the corner. Mott in behind the net. Over to the far side to Brennan. Brennan, a nice little spin move, and hold on, whistles stopping play before she could get her shot off. Caleb Brennan, the freshman from Baltimore, with a free position attempt here. And doesn't take it in for a shot against Anastasia Iliff. The Spartans work it around instead and have it on the far side. Brennan with a little skip move. Now sends it back up for Bush. Over to this side. Emma McLaughlin, 2 defenders on her. McLaughlin carries on and can't get the shot away for Brennan. Brennan tries to get around her check. Sends it down in behind the net. The ball rolls, and 2 of them chase it down. Olivia Mott for UT, and kicking at it is Mackenzie Hamer for the Fighting Knights. And the official right there says possession stays with the Spartans. And here's McLaughlin. And watch out this time as the shot clock's at 20. Spartans had a recent trip down the field where they weren't able to get a shot away before the shot clock expired. And here's McLaughlin, 7 now. They need to get a shot off. And McLaughlin passes it into the corner, and they're going to see the shot clock expire again. And I made the hockey analogy before. That would not have been appreciated. Sarah Hinkle having put that one in the net after the shot clock expired. If this was an NHL game. And the ladies showing good sportsmanship and carrying on here. As the Fighting Knights look to start out of their own end. And Hamer is taken down by Olivia Mott. And we've seen some hits here in the first half, as Olivia Mott is going to be the latest Spartans player to head off the field and go have a seat in the penalty area. And credit these Fighting Knights for the way that they've bounced right back up off the field, as we've seen a good number of bodies hit the deck here this afternoon. And now play restarts. And Hamer crosses midfield. Hamer being chased by Mcneil. Hamer, and now she's defended quickly by O'Neill Gallinson as she enters the Spartans' end of the field. And here's Bodmer. Pass over now. Lauren Dixon. Fighting Knights trailing by 5 goals, and are they going to turn that one over? The Spartans roll it safely back to their goaltender, and Bridget Sutter sends it over. And UT will start out of their own end as Aaron Sistek sends it over for Cece Colombo. A pass that's sent up quickly ahead and doesn't connect with Kayla Brennan. And so the Fighting Knights work it back across midfield. And a pass there is dropped by Sydney Hill. And a whistle stopping play with just over 3 minutes remaining here in the first half. Keep in mind the Spartans are currently down a player as Olivia Mott over in the penalty area. And all 3 officials gathered together. And now their discussion ends, although one of them heading over to the scores table. Indeed. And we'll see what this is all about. And a reminder that coming up at halftime, there is no audio during the broadcast, but you will still continue to see video on your screen. Just be sure to set a timer at that point to be back in time for the call of the second half. And now it looks like play is set to resume. And the Fighting Knights have possession. And with it now is Farinas for Bodmer. Back to Farinas again. And over now for Sydney Hill. Hill sends it down into the corner. And it's a return to her as Hill looked for a potential return pass to Diane Doler. Nothing there. And there's a pass that connects with Dixon. And in front, Sutter able to control it. And now she quickly sends a pass over. O'Neill Gallinson dropped it, although it's picked up by Alexis Cadillo. They play it back to Sutter, and she'll go the other way to this side of the field as Aaron Sistek plays it up ahead. Danny Waters now crossing midfield. Waters up across the Lynn line. And now Hannah Bush. She'll push it in behind the Fighting Knights net. And no shot opportunity there for Brennan, so it's up top. Bush to McLaughlin and into the corner to Mott. And now Cece Colombo. Colombo bounces out front, an underhanded shot, and didn't find the net. But the Fighting Knights picked it up and started running it back. Mackenzie Hamer, but the official right there to say, no, this stays with UT. And Brennan on the far side. Now to Hannah Bush. And McLaughlin. McLaughlin has one of UT's 9 goals so far this afternoon. Cece Colombo, a little spin move, a pass for Kayla Brennan. And here's McLaughlin again. And 2 defenders there on her. She tries to carry on, and another defender slid over to help. Kayla Brennan switches hands and sends a pass down behind the Fighting Knights net. And there's a pass that is thrown away, and the Spartans turn it over. As we're down to 1 minute remaining here in the first half. And let's see if the Fighting Knights can get down into the... No, they can't. It's turned over. Gallinson picks it up for the Spartans. And Lauren Mcneil on the run. Pass right in front. Shot scores! and that's Olivia Mott. And the Spartans make it 10-4 as they're opportunistic with the turnover by the Fighting Knights. And a big 6-goal lead as there's less than a minute to go here in the first half. And so UT getting lots of contributors up and down the lineup today. In fact, 6 different players have goals for the Spartans at this point. And UT continuing to be very efficient shooting. 10 goals on 11 shots on goal. Now, mind you, they do have 17 shots overall. But a long first half. If you are Fighting Knights goaltender Anastasia Iliff. And we'll get this draw now at midfield. Aaron Bodmer for the visitors. Sarah Hinkle for UT. And it's picked up by the Fighting Knights. Pressure put on there by the Spartans. They're able to take it away. Santarpio. And it doesn't connect with Hinkle. Fighting Knights. Cross midfield, Isabella Clark. And let's see if they can get a shot away here. Although a couple of them chase it down. And the horn goes to end the first half of play. And UT goes to the halftime break with a big 10-4 lead. And do set a timer. We'll be back with the call of the second half here on TampaSpartans.tv.
This is the University of Tampa. Explore your dreams, discover your talents, get ready to invent, innovate, and be a leader. This is the University of Tampa.
Back live here at the Namoli Family Athletic and Intramural Complex on the grounds of the University of Tampa campus, where the Spartans have a 10-4 halftime lead over the visiting Lynn Fighting Knights. And first half statistics, UT outshot Lynn 11-7. Draw controls were 9-6 in favor of the Spartans. And 4 different goal scorers for the visiting Fighting Knights, whereas the Spartans had 6 different players combined for 10 goals. As we're about to set here, and the teams, of course, have switched sides, meaning that UT now going left to right. And in case you're wondering, no goaltending change for the visitors. And for that matter, the Spartans as well, sticking, of course, with Bridget Sutter, who allowed just 4 goals in that first half. And it's the Spartans with the first possession of the second half, as that was Abby Selhorn started that play, as it's now with Gia Colombo. And over to Selhorn again. Looking for some room. Santarpio pass does connect, and unable to get a shot off. Pierpont had trouble possessing it, and it's turned over. Santarpio had 3 goals in the first half, 2 each for Cece Colombo and Lizzie Pierpont. As you see, a stop made there by Iliff. Single tallies for the Spartans from Lauren Mcneil, Olivia Mott, and Emma LaGlaughlin. For Lynn, their goals this afternoon have come from Danielle Farinas, Diane Doler, Sydney Hill, and Sarah Schaefer. And right now with it, Lauren Dixon for the visitors as they cross the Tampa line. Sydney Hill being watched there by Paige Short. And it's sent over to the far side of the field. That's Doler for the Fighting Knights. And this is Erin Bodmer. Bodmer nodding the direction she wants her teammate to go in. And given now to Dixon, who makes her move. Pass inside. Shot, scores! A nice goal there by Sydney Hill, as the Fighting Knights get the first goal of the second half. And you see the move that she makes there on that replay. Scoring just 2 minutes and 3 seconds into this second half. And awaiting this draw now. And Lizzie Pierpont out there for the home team. The Spartans, along with Florida Southern and Rollins, all with 4-1, 1 lost records. As I look at the Sunshine State Conference standings, and that's Dixon for the Fighting Knights, and looking identical, Sydney Hill, the goal that she just scored, although they were able to turn her away that time. And now Sydney Hill giving instructions to her teammates as it's sent up top. And Doler pushes a pass over to the other side. Delaney Papella. And now in behind the Spartans' net. Pass in front is taken away by UT, Danielle Farinas. And the Fighting Knights able to get the ball back. And so a fresh shot clock as Farinas has it in the corner. And this fresh shot clock will benefit the Fighting Knights, who seem to have found a little bit of inspiration from getting the first goal of the second half. And we're looking pretty good on the possession that seemed like it was going to result in a takeaway by the Spartans. But here they are with a pass in front. Oh, and a great save there as Bridget Sutter stopped Doler. The Fighting Knights control the rebound. And the Spartans defense closes things up as it's pushed over to the far side to Bodmer. In the corner with it is Clark. Clark being watched closely there by Sistek. And it's given back to Isabella Clark in the corner. Clark sends it back for Dixon again. And now on the move is Papella, and Sutter makes the save. And here comes UT on the run. Santarpio across the Lynn line. Pass for Hannah Bush. And she takes it in behind the Fighting Knights net. CC Colombo up top to Pierpont. And here's Santarpio, content to send it back into the corner. Selhorn to CC Colombo, and they work the perimeter here as it's back up top with Pierpont again. Santarpio to Selhorn. And here comes CC Colombo working out of the near corner. Bounces in front, takes a shot, and Iliff may have gotten a piece of that one as possession stays with the Spartans. And a fresh shot clock as Pierpont sends it into Colombo. Mott to Santarpio. And starting a move there was Lizzie Pierpont. But the Fighting Knights shut it down. There's a shot taken by Colombo that goes out of play. And one of the officials going over and giving instructions to the sideline, and now they're ready to resume. The shot clock adjusted, and now Abby Selhorn up top for Pierpont. Into the corner, CC Colombo. Pass tried to get Pierpont, who was cutting in the slot. Didn't get to her, but the Spartans able to pick it up anyways. As there's a pass for Selhorn. Now Santarpio over to Pierpont again. And Pierpont with a nice little move. But good heads up play by Delaney Gould to stay with her. CC Colombo to Santarpio. Selhorn to Pierpont again. And a relay to Selhorn, and a stick came up on her. And we're going to have a call here against the Fighting Knights. This will be the first one of the game against them, as Diane Doler goes and has a seat in the penalty area on the far side of the field. And so an opportunity here for the Spartans. And we're going to see a free position attempt. And Abby Selhorn is stopped by Iliff. A yellow card on Diane Doler of Lynn. And so here are the Spartans. Scores! Jeannie Santarpio, her fourth goal of the game. And very quickly, 11 seconds after Diane Doler sat down in the penalty area, UT again finds the back of the net and extends their lead to 11-5. CC Colombo gets the assist, and Santarpio with 4 goals this afternoon, now up to 14 on the season. And how about CC Colombo? A 6-point game so far, 2 goals and 4 assists. And that puts her at 25 points on the season. As we await this draw now, Lizzie Pierpont and Sarah Schaefer, and it's controlled by the Spartans. CC Colombo chases that one down. Colombo, 2 Lynn players on her. A nice move to shake them both and gets a pass over to Pierpont. Now Selhorn pushes it quickly into the corner. Colombo gets the pass from Olivia Mott, but hold on, we have a whistle stopping play here. CC Colombo retrieved the ball from out of bounds and gets herself ready for a free position attempt here. Takes a shot and it bounces wide. It was knocked down by Olivia Mott as she chases after it, and possession stays with the Spartans. This is Abby Selhorn up top. Pierpont to Santarpio to CC Colombo, and in behind the Fighting Knights net she goes. Pass over to Mott, quickly to a streaking Lizzie Pierpont, and gave up the pass for Selhorn as Santarpio pushes it back to CC Colombo. Colombo with a nice little spin move, bad angle, now puts a pass in front, and Santarpio met there, taken to the ground, and a call against the Fighting Knights. And with the afternoon that she has had, Jeannie Santarpio is not someone that you want to give a free position attempt to. Let's see if she breaks in quickly enough and gets a shot away before the 2 defenders on either side of her can close the gap. And she does, and she scores again. Her 5th goal of the game. Jeannie Santarpio, red hot, extending this Spartan lead as she beats the goaltender Anastasia Iliff. You see just maybe a little bit of a fake that might have been the difference. As Santarpio now up to 15 goals on the season. And she has scored herself as many goals this afternoon as the Fighting Knights have as a team. So Lynn has their hands full, not only battling back from what is now a 7-goal deficit, but finding a way to shut down Jeannie Santarpio. So great to see the support that this Spartans team has gotten, as evidenced by the number of spectators in the stands here for a game that was capped at 25% attendance. As the draw is still not controlled by either team, and bodies flying everywhere as Sarah Schaefer had finally controlled it for the visitors. And here comes Carly Mcneil for the Fighting Knights. Sydney Hill with it, looking into the corner, now goes back up top for Mcneil. And Schaefer weighs her options, sends it over to the other side of the field. And Delaney Papella pushes it into the corner. Now breaking out in front. Oh, a save made there against Isabella Clark. And we have a Spartans player down that could possibly be injured. And very slow in getting up is Alexis Scadillo. And let's see if she stays in the game. The official checking on her. And Scadillo thus far staying in the game. She was wiping off both knees. You don't know if that was just from the surface itself, or if maybe that's where she felt a little ouch. For the time being, Alexis Cadillo staying in the game, and almost as though her teammate passing by her, Danny Waters, asking her if she's okay, as the Spartans have it offensively. And now Alexis Scadillo going off the field. And so we'll watch her on the far sideline as she's replaced by Megan DeTonio. In the meantime, UT still working for a shot as it's worked around to the far side. McLaughlin puts it into the corner. Hannah Bush with it. Bush looking and connects there with Kayla Brennan. Puts her shoulder down and a whistle stopping play. Alexis Scadillo, one of the 3 Spartans captains, temporarily out of the game. And UT with 32 seconds here on the shot clock. And in comes Hinkle, scores! Sarah Hinkle on the free position attempt. And another new name on the score sheet this afternoon for Kelly Gallagher's Spartans as they go into a 13-5 lead. And Sarah Hinkle picks up her 2nd goal of the season. And we see her so active with the draws. And now here she is getting into the goal column. And it looks like we're going to have a timeout called by the Fighting Knights. So we will step aside as well. You're watching Spartans Lacrosse on TampaSpartans.tv.
This is the University of Tampa. Explore your dreams. Discover your talents. Get ready to invent, innovate, and be a leader. This is the University of Tampa.
Back live here at the Namoli Family Athletic and Intramural Complex on the grounds of the University of Tampa campus, where the Fighting Knights had called a timeout as they currently trail by a score of 13-5. They had scored the first goal of the second half and have watched the home team score the next 3. It was a 6-goal Spartan lead at halftime. 10-4 was our score, and now that 6-goal margin has been expanded to 8. And so certainly Mindy Richmond, the head coach of Lynn, needing to collectively catch the team's breath with that timeout that was called before we went to a break. And despite this offensive onslaught by the Spartans, 13 goals, mind you, on 15 shots on goal, it is still Anastasia Iliff between the pipes for the visitors. And now the draw. And the update on Alexis Scadillo. She is over on the Spartans sideline with a whole lot of ice wrapped around her left knee and standing alongside her teammates watching the game right now. And in the meantime, UT setting up here for a free position attempt from Emma McLaughlin, who does have one goal here this afternoon. Looks for her second, gets it, and the Spartans another goal and really pouring it on. And this will increase their goals per game average on the season. I mentioned at the beginning of the broadcast that UT was averaging winning this season by a score of 12 to approximately 9.5, and they have 14 goals already in the season. That now puts her at 5. As the draw taking place at midfield now. Sarah Hinkle and Sarah Schaefer. And controlled by the Fighting Knights as Ginger Stein looked for some room. Sent it over to the other side of the field and some difficulty handling it there. Schaefer as she's pressured by Olivia Mott. And trying to shake Olivia Mott as she runs up towards midfield and is met by Sarah Hinkle there. Pass up ahead. Riley Stewart mishandled it, and so it's turned over as UT goes back the other way. O'Neill Gallinson on the run with it for the Spartans. Gallinson actually has some room there and decides to just take it in behind the Fighting Knights net. And Gallinson sprinting off the field on the far side, and she's replaced by Lauren Mcneil. And now McLaughlin, Riley McGettigan, and a pass inside. Kayla Brennan looking for a shot, and a pass over. Now it's on the far side. McLaughlin and McGettigan. Pass inside, and that one goes out of play behind the Fighting Knights net. And the temperature continues to drop here in Tampa. We're now at 82 and cloudy. That storm moving in later on. And play is halted down in the field. And Kayla Brennan is going to get a free position attempt here. And sliding over defensively, the Fighting Knights able to distract her, and the shot went wide as the Spartans put it back into play. As McGettigan sends a pass over, McLaughlin has trouble, chases it down, and gets there just in time before it rolls out. And now in behind the Fighting Knights net, Hannah Bush over on the near side. Kayla Brennan looks and sends it across the field to McLaughlin. McLaughlin, 2 defenders meet her, and she has to retreat and will send it into the far corner. Mott will give it back to McLaughlin, and now up top, Riley McGettigan over to Brennan, and wanted to go one-on-one. The defender keeps her in check. Pass there, McLaughlin breaks in, and Iliff may have made the save. The shot clock resets. And the official there on the spot as Lynn denies UT on that trip down the field. And starting it up for the visitors, Ginger Stein. And now with a good burst of speed is Carly Mcneil. And out of bounds was Danielle Farinas, and a nice job by the official there to spot that as her foot was just across the line, and so the Spartans race back down the other way. Hannah Bush as a Fighting Knights player goes by her. And the Fighting Knights really on their heels here. As Brennan takes a shot, scores! Well, that one somehow fooled Anastasia Iliff, who put her stick down just a moment too late. And you see there on the replay that was anything but a fastball. And the Spartans players having some fun over on their sideline, seeing their teammates out on the field go into what is now a 10-goal lead. Kayla Brennan, her first goal of the season. And controlled nicely there. Good play by Santarpio. She pushes it ahead. Lauren Mcneil, a nice pass to Cece Colombo. And Colombo fakes a shot and may have gotten a stick up high, was able to carry on. And Pierpont sends it over for Lauren Mcneil. Now it's in behind the Fighting Knights net. Colombo, and it's on the ground, picked up by Santarpio. And a whistle stopping play. And this one looks like it's against Hannah Boggs. So a free position attempt here for Hannah Bush. And Bush takes a bounce shot, scores! And put that one in the same place as the last Spartan goal. Brennan showing Bush where they feel Iliff may likely be vulnerable. And UT now goes into an 11-goal lead. And we do have a running clock at this point due to the 10 or more goal differential. And now on the ensuing draw, the official awarding possession to Lynn. Well, it's the Spartans with it here, coming back the other way once again. And it bears repeating that despite a 5-goal effort from Jeannie Santarpio, the Spartans have really gotten contributions up and down the lineup this afternoon. As you see the spin move by Lauren Mcneil, and it rolls to Iliff, and she'll settle things down and go behind her net. Nine different players have scored for the Spartans here this afternoon. As you see possession here to the Fighting Knights. And look at that, giving chase Hannah Bush. And is she successful in causing the turnover? She is. Knocked it away from Ginger Stein. And now a pair of ones going at it, Lauren Mcneil and Erin Bodmer. And possession to the Fighting Knights. As here's a pass all the way over to this side of the field for Lauren Dixon. And a little spin move there by her. And this is Farinas. Farinas started to cut before Paige Short slid over defensively for the Spartans to shut that down. And at some point, the defensive pride starts to be a factor here in that UT surrendered only 5 goals in their last action 1 week ago today when they played at Florida Tech and won by 10-5. And they'd be just as proud of themselves to put up another strong defensive effort here this afternoon as they will be in the offense that they've displayed. Currently limiting the Fighting Knights to 4 goals in the first half and just 1 here so far in the second half. As we are just over a minute away from only 10 minutes remaining in the game. As you see, Dixon getting ready here for a free position attempt, and it just trickles across the line as Bridget Sutter seemed as though she was going to stop that one, and it ends up in behind her. So no sooner do I say that than does Lynn get their 6th goal of the afternoon. And for Dixon, that is her 1st goal of the season. And Cece Colombo out there to take the draw. So Kelly Gallagher changing things up. Whereas we had been used to seeing Lizzie Pierpont and Sarah Hinkle. And the Fighting Knights ready to put it in play. And this is Aaron Bodmer waiting for the official's whistle. And there it is. And Bodmer off to the races. And quickly a whistle. And keep in mind, as you know, that it's a running clock due to the 10 goal differential. As that Lynn goal brought the deficit from 11 to 10, so still the running clock. And possession here with the Fighting Knights as Danielle Farinas gives it to Dixon. Dixon a pass back. That's Papella. And return pass to her, and Sutter started out of her own net and right out in front. And a good thing for Bridget Sutter that there was a scramble, giving her just enough time to get back in the net. Here's Alyssa Romano for the Spartans as Kelly Gallagher will start putting 1 or 2 new faces out on the field. Hannah Bush with it in behind the net, sends a pass over for Lauren Mcneil, and up top to Romano. Santarpio, a pass into Bush. And with it down there is Cece Colombo. Mcneil over to Romano again. And a pass to Santarpio. Still 40 seconds on the shot clock. Pass in front, and unable to get a shot away was Alyssa Romano. And now it's up top with Lauren Mcneil. Fires it down to the end line and gets it back. Scores! What a great passing play there, as Lauren Mcneil and Cece Colombo team up on a beautiful Spartans goal. Put that one on the here's how you do it reel. Tremendous give and go between the two of them. And UT goes into a 17-6 lead as we approach 7.5 minutes remaining in the game. Lauren Mcneil picking up her second goal of the game. She actually has a 3-point afternoon, has an assist as well. And Lauren Mcneil up to 8 goals on the season now. And now you see Cece Colombo there. The draw for UT. Lost her stick. She was opposed by Delaney Papella. And are they calling a penalty against Cece Colombo? It does look like she's heading into the penalty area. She hasn't sat down, but I think she's either asking for some water on the sidelines and or complaining to her teammates. But indeed, it looks like Cece Colombo has sat down in the penalty area on the far side of the field. So the Fighting Knights going to work here with the extra player. And this is Carly Mcneil. And gets a pass back from Hill. McNeil. And this one's inside to Kaylin Doyle. Pass down low to Clark. And Clark will send it back up top for Papella. And a nice pass there to Kaylin Doyle, but equally nice defense by the Spartans to not allow her anything. As there's a pass right in front, shot gets taken, and nice save made by Bridget Sutter on the shot by Papella. And in case you're wondering, Alexis Scadillo continues to remain inactive in the sense that she has not returned to the game, still has the big pack of ice wrapped around her left knee, and is still standing on the sidelines amidst all of her teammates. So a good sign, at least, in that she's able to put weight on it and be able to stand all this time and not have to be on a trainer's table or sitting on the bench. Meanwhile, out on the field of play, does Cece Colombo cause a turnover? No. They actually call against her, and so Delaney Gould, the other number 6 in the game, carries on for the Fighting Knights. And here's McNeil. Carly McNeil, her pass over. And Sarah Schaefer opts to send a pass, and her teammates move it quickly down low. And it's returned to Kaylin Doyle, and a ground ball is going to be picked up there. And the Spartans just not quitting on this game, continuing to go at it as though it was 7-6 and not 17-6. And here they come quickly. Alyssa Romano on the run. Romano splits the defense, and the ball didn't come with her as it's on the ground. And the Fighting Knights pick it up in the far corner. And the clock continues to run. 4:15 left in the game as the Fighting Knights cross midfield. Sarah Schaefer on the run. And a handful of Spartans defenders there to greet her. And Alyssa Romano able to cause a turnover. Now it's loose again, though, and picked up by Lynn as Sarah Schaefer settles things down for the visitors. Carly McNeil sends it over for Hill. Sydney Hill gives it right back to her. And now it's over for Papella. This is Sarah Schaefer The pass over and starting the move was Kaylin Doyle, but a whistle stopping play. And no sooner had Cece Colombo come back out on the field, but it looks like she might be going back to the penalty area again. And let's see if she takes a seat over in the penalty area. Although we might get a call on the other side too, as it looks like Sarah Schaefer is sitting down for the Fighting Knights. So perhaps a call against both teams. Cece Colombo kind of standing with her hands on her hips in frustration and now finally sits down. So Schaefer for the Fighting Knights and Cece Colombo for UT both go off the field. And this all coming with 3.5 minutes left in the game, as Mindy Richmond, the Fighting Knights head coach, goes over and wants an explanation from the official. And she looks about as frustrated as Cece Colombo did. So neither team happy with the calls that are being made here. And now we'll get play to restart in the Fighting Knights end of the field. Or excuse me, in the Tampa end of the field. It's the Fighting Knights putting it back into play. And that's Farinas with a pass over for Hill. And this is Mcneil. Up top with it, Papella leaves her pass for Doyle, who pushes it into the corner. And now making a move, but nothing there, was Isabella Clark, thanks to some strong defense by Aaron Sistek. And the ball is loose, and on the run was Danny Waters, but whistles asking the Spartans to come back and resume from midfield, and they do, as it's pushed into the far corner. In behind the Fighting Knights net. Now here's Santarpio. Up top with it is Romano. And it's pushed in behind the Fighting Knights net. Pass out in front. Selhorn, and that one's going to go wide. And let's see. Two of them battle for it. Possession given to the Fighting Knights. And as we wind down, I'll tell you that the Spartans' next game will be Wednesday night when they travel up I-75 to play at St. Leo, a 7 p.m. start. And for Lynn, they will be in action that evening as well in Lakeland, playing at Florida Southern. And the Fighting Knights cross midfield with a pass that connected with Papella, and a call made there against the Spartans. And so the Fighting Knights set up here offensively. As we have a horn going and the official going over to see what that's all about. As we still have close to 90 seconds left in this game. And it looks like there's a stoppage in play because of lightning. And the players all gathering their gear, at least for the Spartans.
Ladies and gentlemen, we declare the stadium for a lightning delay. Thank you.
And the fans are being asked to clear the stadium for this lightning delay, as you see the Spartans players all with their gear heading to the corner. And it looked like the Fighting Knights were in a timeout huddle, but in fact, it's a lightning delay. And the fans are all making their way down the bleachers and out of the stadium. And in fact, they are going to rule the game as being complete. So it is a final score officially. And we close out with a Spartans victory by the score of 17-6. So UT improves their record in 2021 to 5-1. And for Lynn, they drop now to 1-3. And the big offensive players for UT today were Jeannie Santarpia with 5 goals and Cece Colombo with 7 points on the strength of 2 goals and 5 assists. So our final score this afternoon from the University of Tampa, the home Spartans post a 17-6 win over the visiting